you know, and he's got his weight over his feet like this,
Mhm.
and as he's talking, he shifts his weight. Well, if he shifts his weight over to this foot, you know, he does
Yeah,
does one of these.
his feet are gonna move.
Yeah, this one is, think of it like when the, like if I have a key here, and then I get him here, but I have like an in between where he's down like that, then that pushes this foot up so slightly, but it just gives it a little bit of that when he
Right.
moves.
But when you're doing these little slides, right? Like,
Hmm.
bec- the thing is that there was no slide in my reference on that last thing, and so I was
Yeah.
wondering like why you chose to put it in. Like, does it have to do with like a particular moment in, like, because I know like he's sort of pushing off. I was thinking maybe like his hips are starting to leave the ground because he's thrusting up so, and then
Right
like
here?
it's like a mini step kind of thing.
Right.
I don't know, like, is it just like a step that's so small you're not building it in as a step, but it just becomes like a slide?
Right.
But
So
like the
you're-
weight is leaving that foot and it's moving? Or is the weight still on that foot and it's slipping against the floor? Or what?
It's both. It's both. So how I judge it is I look at this. So you're talking about how I shifted these feet ever so slightly, and you can see it in this one closest to us here. I think is the one that's the most successful. It just has a little bit of a roll there, and my problem, the reason why I do that is because you have a big push up, right? So if we go back to the way it was, which was that foot didn't move at all, and this one as well didn't move at all, and we push that weight up, being because it's CG, it looks terrible, right? Like the fact that those feet are just locked on there. Now you said in your reference your feet don't move, but they do. You don't really see it, but they're moving. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah, like there's movement within the, you're like rocking on the balls of the feet, whatever, yeah.
Totally. There's some movement there. So I just try to go in there and build some movement in there. Otherwise, like, and it's just, you know what, it's kind of a pet peeve of mine, but I see it from a mile away when somebody has the feet locked down or anything like that. They do it with the hands too, and they just don't move. And it's like, just add a little bit of shift because it just feels like, to me, it's just that last little bit of polish where it's like, oh, nice, you've taken the time to. So what you're asking is where do you put it? To me, it's like I put it in the obvious places, but that's probably not a very good answer. So I just look, like for that, for example, he's throwing his weight up, so he's a lot of
Leaving
weight
the ground?
off his feet, so he's going to throw it up, and I'd probably also, he throws it up, and then when he's sort of like, when the weight comes back down on it as well, there'd probably be a little bit of a shift there as well.
So
now, you got to be careful with it because they can, if both feet are moving at the same time, even if he's taking weight up, he can look
ice
floaty.
skating.
Yeah, or like he's on ice or something.
Okay, so basically what you're saying is, this slip, it's like sometimes it's like a step where it's like weight is leaving the ground and it's moving like a tiny little jump, and then sometimes there's so much force on the ground that the foot is slipping against it.
Yeah, so like if I have somebody standing
Gotcha.
in place and they just do a weight shift like that, I'll typically put the little foot, if I, all I do is I just, at the ankles, I just slide the ball of the foot out a little bit. Depending on if they're standing in the front, obviously it's going to be the heel that slides. But it's typically just the feet, the toe slides out a little bit. Rarely do they go in because that just brings the knees in. But if I have somebody shift weight over onto a foot, I always add the little foot shift on the leg that the weight gets transferred onto, not the one that it's getting transferred off of. Because for some reason that just, I do one or the other typically, or else it feels like they do a skip, or I'll do them both, but I'll make sure that one stops moving before the other one starts.
Okay, but what it is so like weight is leaving the ground when there's so much force that it slips, or just as sort of like a caricature of one of those two things to show that just something is happening to that foot because the weight is now there.
Yeah, like I said, I start on the foot where the weight is being put onto first, because it's forcing that. It just feels like as the weight comes down on that foot, it's forcing that. It's almost like it's pressing. Like think of it like like characters like when you animate a character with claws and they put their feet down, their claws spread out.
Yeah,
it's that sort of idea. And then okay. But you know what? I'll do it on both, and I'll just see. And it's a lot of this stuff is honestly is trial and error, and I do it the last thing that I do is I'll just start to like, well, now let's get everything's looking really nice. I'm just covering all the bases I can. And then I look down at the feet and go, you know what, my feet are locked in place for like 25 frames. That's not okay. I got to fix that somehow. His feet just don't do